In ancient Israel, during the reign of King Ahab and his queen Jezebel, the land was steeped in idolatry and corruption. The people had turned away from worshiping the one true God and were instead bowing down to Baal, a false deity promoted by Jezebel. God, deeply troubled by this, sent his prophet Elijah to confront the king and lead the people back to righteousness. Elijah, whose name means "the Lord is my God," was a man of great faith and courage. One day Elijah appeared before King Ahab and declared that there would be neither dew nor rain in the land for the next few years, except at his word. This drought was a divine punishment for the people's idolatry. After delivering this message, Elijah fled to the Kerith ravine, where he drank from a brook and was fed by ravens sent by God. As the drought persisted, the brook eventually dried up. God then instructed Elijah to go to the town of Zarephath, where a widow would provide for him. When Elijah arrived, he found the widow gathering sticks. He asked her for a little water and a piece of bread. The widow, in despair, explained that she had only a handful of flour and a little oil left, just enough for one last meal for her and her son before they would starve. Elijah reassured her, saying, "Do not be afraid. Go home and do as you have said. But first make a small loaf of bread for me from what you have and bring it to me, and then make something for yourself and your son. For this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says, the jar of flour will not be used up, and the jug of oil will not run dry until the day the Lord sends rain on the land." The widow trusted Elijah and did as he said. Miraculously, the flour and oil lasted throughout the drought, providing sustenance for Elijah, the widow, and her son. Sometime later, the widow's son fell ill and died. In her grief, she blamed Elijah. Elijah took the boy in his arms, carried him to the upper room where he was staying, and laid him on his bed. He cried out to God, "Lord my God, have you brought tragedy even on this widow I am staying with, by causing her son to die?" Then he stretched himself out on the boy 3 times and prayed, "Lord my God, let this boy's life return to him." The Lord heard Elijah's cry, and the boy's life returned to him. Elijah carried the boy back to his mother, who exclaimed, "Now I know that you are a man of God, and that the word of the Lord from your mouth is the truth." Elijah's most dramatic confrontation came on Mount Carmel. He challenged 450 prophets of Baal to a contest to prove whose God was real. Both sides prepared a bull for sacrifice and called upon their deity to set it on fire. The prophets of Baal prayed fervently, but nothing happened. When it was Elijah's turn, he soaked his altar with water to make the miracle even more impressive. He prayed to God, and fire fell from heaven, consuming the sacrifice, the wood, the stones, and even the water in the trench around the altar. The people fell on their faces and cried, "The Lord, He is God! The Lord, He is God!" This powerful demonstration led them to turn back to God. Soon after, the long drought ended and rain fell upon the land once more. Elijah's life was filled with miracles and divine encounters, showcasing God's power and faithfulness. His story continues to inspire faith and courage in believers around the world.